an Unspoiled Network podcast.
This is Spoil Me, covering Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. It's not even the last episode. It is beyond the last episode. We are into the live, yes, it's really a singing Crazy Ex-Girlfriend concert special. In this episode, I'm going to talk about this live performance, just how wild it is that this happened, and overall what it was like to cover this show, and also field some questions from you maybe in the audience perhaps. We'll see. Welcome to Spoil Me. Welcome to the show, everyone. I am Natasha. Thank you very much to Megan for commissioning this episode. Megan, I hope that you're able to make it. Megan missed the recording of the finale, and she was very annoyed, but I hope that she is able to make it to this last discussion. Again, Megan has just been such an OG fan of Unspoiled to begin with, and she commissioned like the lion's share of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend episodes, and I really appreciate that a lot. Gretchen says, you look very cozy with your little blanket. It's actually, I couldn't find what I like to call my recording cardigan. I don't know where I put it or what I've done with it, but I normally cozy up with that because my office is the coldest room in the house, always, for some reason. And I just wound up having to grab a blanket. I was like, I guess this'll do. So this live concert special it's really wild to me that this was something that even happened. And those of you who have more information on how all of this went down, I'd be really interested to hear it. It's obvious, like they sold tickets to this or maybe they didn't sell tickets. I don't know how this went, but it seems like the public came, that it was fans, like longtime viewers of the show. People showed up literally like cosplaying. And I really enjoyed the camera going around to various folks waiting in line outside and all of the different outfits that they were wearing to celebrate the show. There's the iconic blue dress. There's the gold, she's my ping pong girl dress. There's the let's generalize about men pantsuits with the like 80s geometric prints on it. Even the women who were wearing the orange jumpsuits with the lingerie over them, which is really pretty close to my heart. I love that so much. And I just can't imagine. This is something that I occasionally, very occasionally, run into with Unspoiled will be people doing a little bit of like fan art for things that we've mentioned on the show, or of me or Sean, or, just anything that's inspired by something that I have made is really kind of shocking. It's always a moment of just like, wow, I am aware people are listening, and I'm not like unconscious if that's the whole reason I'm doing this. I have a community that I am in touch with a lot, but I forget how much something can influence people if they become used to involving it in their everyday lives. And it's really humbling. And I that word is one that I feel can be used so pretentiously that I always hesitate to use it because it comes across as very affected mostly. But I genuinely mean that. There's times where I'm like, wow, I can't believe that the little thing that I just started doing off my dining table, it matters to anybody, And so I really have to think that Rachel Bloom creating this TV show, which, according to the word on the street, I was in a group the other day that was talking about this show. Evidently, the ratings for this show while it was airing were like really bad. And I don't remember who it was, but there was some like executive that worked with the network that fought to keep the show on the air, even though it was constantly under threat of being cut. And that has to be really tough when this is a labor of such intense love and attention. Rachel Bloom and is it Adam Schlesinger? Is that how you say his name? They put such TLC into the show. It's so clear that to have it under the hatchet, you know, what do they call it? The sword of Damocles. I can only imagine how stressful that was to begin with, and how incredibly rewarding it must be when you are able to do something like this at the end of wrapping successfully. First of all, getting to tell the entire story, which is remarkable. She was able to do her whole 4 seasons. It was a self-contained story that really was thought out and executed extraordinarily well. I mean, most TV, you know, it's not thought through. It's simply slapped together in order to grab as many eyes as possible without much thought for this structure of a story at large. And so that right there is in and of itself something to be so proud of. And then to have this event and people dressing up in what have now, in a lot of cases, become these iconic costumes. And to have this sort of influence, especially as somebody who grew up in the theater scene and has probably, you know, like just seen this kind of behavior in regard to other shows. I know that like Hedwig and the Angry Inch, for example, being one that's in sex education that I'm covering, dressing up to go and see that is just sort of like de jour. And to see that something you have made has now taken that sort of tier in people's minds has to be one of the most amazing feelings. So I just felt so incredibly proud of her, like secondhand pride, for how much influence that she had, and the fact that they did keep the show on the air, that somebody was willing to fight for her and believed in the project, and how important this is. And it's very inspiring to me personally, because it can be really hard when something isn't working right away and you're genuinely trying your best and putting everything into it, and it's just not seeming to come together. And knowing that it wasn't seeming to be like received very well when it first aired, and then standing back from it all these years later and looking at the effect that it has had, there's something extremely reassuring about that, you know, that something can still prove to be important and successful, even if in the moment it doesn't seem to be. Because that's like the only other thing that we tend to give room for regarding, well, you know, maybe someday somebody will love it, is like visual art, you know, paintings. Somebody is unappreciated in their time and then they drop dead, and all of a sudden the value of their art goes through the roof and it's seen as this treasure, and nobody sees any fault in it anymore, while when the person was alive, nobody could have cared less. But you don't really see that a lot with other mediums, and especially not something that's considered as pop culture as television. Especially, this isn't like a prestige television show, which even those can be given a little bit more leeway by a lot of people. So it's sort of a motivation to me to see that something that she worked so hard on and really meant, you know, she put her heart into this. It's so clear that despite it not seeming initially to be this runaway success, it was given time to breathe. It was given room for people to access it in other ways after the fact. And now everybody is so, I mean, nobody's saying that it's without its flaws, but everybody can appreciate what a groundbreaking piece of work this was. And I don't know, I think that is really important and inspiring and remarkable. Jack Dolgen or Dolgan, Erica. Dolgen is the other writer. Thank you, Erica. Gretchen says it was the lowest rated show on network/non-cable TV when it was on, and absolutely the black sheep of the CW family, but I'm just so grateful it got to end on its own terms. 100%. And 4 seasons, like, doesn't sound that long, but it was the exact right amount of time for this show. So I feel like there was some kind of art god looking out for her, just being like, we're just going to get her through 4 years. We just need to give her 4 years and then we'll be all right. Just let her tell the story in 4 years. Dolgen. Okay, cool. Thank you, Erica. Yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to start off with that and the fact that everybody is in costume outside, and there are just a variety. The camera pans across a lot of different people in costume once they are in the auditorium as well. And we have people with the heart with the big X through it. We have a girl in the red, like, I'm just a girl in love, in that costume. One of them is wearing a dress that's really similar to the I got my diagnosis. I was actually sort of stopping to think about this and what I would have worn. And I don't know. Part of me would really want to do that disco outfit because it's just so ridiculous. But a onesie is not a look that I enjoy on myself. So I feel like I would want to do that, and then I'd be like, you know what? No, scratch that. But maybe I would do the what's the song that she did this season where she's just singing about how sad she is and eating tacos, and she's got that like leather jacket and everything. I might have done something more like that. Oh wait, no. I really liked, this is from season 1. She wears this like dress that's really similar to Valencia's. It's a gold backless dress, and she's got clearly like 2 bras on underneath it, which of course Valencia has no need for. Honestly, that kind of like, that hits for me a little bit. Either that or something to signify the sexy getting ready song before she goes out. I'm not sad, you're sad. Thank you, Erica. But yeah, so there are so many like great costumes to choose from in this because she dresses so wildly within the songs, and even the clothes that she wears when she's just in scenes with no music. There's the dress that she wears to, I think she wears it to somebody's bar mitzvah when she goes with Josh to see her family, and it's this like black background with like roses, and it's metallic. Oh my god, it's so, I still think about that dress. It was beautiful. So yeah, there's a lot to choose from, and plus a lot of her clothing is A-line, which is very flattering on me, so I always am just sort of lusting after it in general anyway. So anyway, she comes out on stage and everybody is standing ovation, flipping out, and it's really sweet. She's able to sort of have this moment. She's wearing the iconic blue dress with sequins, actually, or rhinestones, and these sparkly silver heels. Guys, I want these heels really bad. And you see her get actually teary-eyed. It's so good. I loved this so much. I can't imagine. I truly can't. This is, even with what I do, were I to blow up and become this massive force, the thing that I always mentally think about when I'm like quantifying what that would even look like is My Favorite Murder, which blew up, became so massively popular, and they're able to sell tickets to live shows for something like $200 a piece, which I just can't even, I would just not do that, but I admire that they can do that. Even then, it's different when you're just sitting and talking, when you're recording a conversation. When you come out and you sing the first, like, verses, not even, when you sing the first words of a song and the whole crowd erupts because they know exactly what it is and they sing along with you from beginning to end, that has to be just the most affirming thing. Because she just starts, West Covina, and the whole crowd just loses their minds, and she gets this look on her face like, I know, right? And it's everybody's in it together. And I really think that is the thing that people who love musical theater tend to zero in on, is this sense of community that comes from everybody knowing the music, everybody going because they are familiar with it, and it's comforting in this way a lot of the time. And this is something that Rashawn has frequently lamented, is like, she is a big fan of, oh my God, Rocky Horror Picture Show. And, you know, they'll have the live shows where you go to a theater and it's like, it starts showing really late. Everybody comes in costume. Everybody knows all the songs. They stand up and sing together. There's like basically a performance from within the audience that is expected. And I have never seen Rocky Horror Picture Show. I've seen probably 10 minutes of it in total. And every time Rashawn is reminded of that, she is so devastated and remains convinced that if I were to go to Philadelphia and she took me to one of these shows where it was a live viewing, that I would appreciate it because of that experience more than the show itself, you know? And I wonder if that's true. I still can't decide. But I haven't seen it still. Erica says, I would want Paula's dresses from either His Status is Preferred. Oh God, that was a good one. Or After Everything I've Done for You That You Didn't Ask For. I don't remember that one. I remember the song. I just don't remember what she was wearing. God, guys. All right. We're going to talk about Paula in a fucking second. And forgive me, everybody that is versed in all of the actor names. I know Rachel Bloom. I know Adam, and that's all I know. Everybody else is like, I just would never be able to name them without looking it up. It's just not going to happen. I love this part too. She says, I'm heading for the pride of the Inland Empire, and then interrupts herself. Actually, it's not in the Inland Empire. It's in the San Gabriel Valley. I should have taken 5 seconds to Google that before I wrote the first song of the television show. Oops. I love that mistake, though. I really do. There is something, again, so relatable about starting off on something that's important to you and just sort of thinking and moving on and it not giving a second thought, and then finding out you made that big a mistake. And you just... I'm sure it kept her up at night a few times after she first found out that she was wrong and it was like the literal theme song. But that's part of everything. When you're doing something creative, you're going to stumble and fuck up, and it's part of it. If you don't do that, are you really pushing yourself at all? And I just thought that was really funny. She just kind of gives a massive oops shrug. And my life's about to change. Oh my gosh. 'Cause I'm hopelessly, desperately in love with, and she says, everybody. And the whole cast comes running out onto the stage, and the pretzel comes down from the ceiling. And I really want to see an interview with the people who participated in all of this, because what a ride. How many TV shows do things like this? There are so many TV shows that go to cons that, have panels that discuss things. But they're on stage. They're doing a performance, which is something that a lot of people who go into show business and primarily work on television, they don't return to the stage again a lot of the time. There's just not the money in it. Oh, you know, like people who are able to step back and go to the stage again often have succeeded so wildly in television or movies that they can take a pay cut. And so they're able to indulge in something that's a little bit more creatively rewarding because they're financially secure. But I wonder what it was like. Do these folks perform on stage often as well as like, because I know the guy who originally played Greg, which I sort of wondered if he was going to show up, and he didn't, and I was a bit disappointed in that. I am a little salty about that, guys. Let me just take an aside here. Look, I understand that he had other obligations and couldn't finish the show, and it's going to happen because he was gone for what, a season and a half, a full season and a half. Like, he left at the beginning of season 2. Did he? And was gone most of that season, and then all of season 3, and then came back in the very start of season 4. So you can't just put your life on hold because this one TV show that isn't even very popular and doing well in ratings may want you back again. I am not mad at him for that. But after the show has wrapped and was wound up being like retroactively as beloved, I wish that he would have made a little time to just come in for this, just for a second. I would have enjoyed a lot a duet between him and New Greg. I think that would have been kind of cool, actually, because doing like, you know, West Covina, What'll It Be, with the two of their voices would actually probably sound amazing. But I just feel a little bit sad about it because as much as I don't love New Greg, I feel like Greg was really formative to the show. He was important as a character. And I wish that he would have taken the time. And I don't know what's going on with him, you know, perhaps were I to find out exactly, I would be like, oh, okay, well, no, that's completely valid, never mind. But there was a part of me that kept waiting for him, and I didn't even realize that I was waiting until New Greg did his bit, and then I was like, oh, I guess that's it then. Gretchen says, I was also low-key disappointed that Santino didn't do the concert. A duet of What'll It Be would have been so good. And I don't, like, full disclosure, I don't even like that song that much, but I just feel like the two of their voices, they have such strong voices, but it's the sort of song that could be elevated with the two of them to a point where even though I'm not a huge fan of it, it would win me over anyway, you know? Yeah, so that's the one thing that all, like, actually, that's wrong. I'm lying. That's not the one thing. There was another one, but I can't be mad at this. The Dr. Akopian song that she winds up singing is the antidepressants are so not a big deal. And look, you guys know, I wasn't a big fan of that song just because I wanted the messaging to be very specific about something else. And it wasn't even mentioned, which bothered me a lot at the time. I acknowledge that the song itself is a good message and well done, but I was so distracted at wanting something else that it kind of like ruined it for me. It's a shame. It's my fault. Like, that's just my baggage there. But I really wanted her song to be the one where it's basically their spin-off of Maybe This Time I'll Be Lucky. That song remains for me one of the most startling performances of the entire series. Her singing that song sent me into tears every time I listened to it. I watched that episode 3 times, and I just, like, spontaneous tears pouring down my face when she reached the crescendo of it, because her voice was so powerful and her performance was so heartfelt and, like, visceral. And I was, like, hoping so much that she would get to do that again, because seeing her do it live, I bet she would have pulled the stops right out. And I don't think she had many stops in to begin with in the fucking show version. But everybody sort of seemed to let themselves go a little bit in this version more than they did on the show. And I was just a little bit sad because I wanted that one so much. She was just so good. I would watch her like in concert, like just doing covers. That would be just a good time. I just wanted to register that because, you know, Dr. Akopian is she's one of those, I feel like she's underappreciated probably by a lot of us. Like when we're thinking of favorite characters, I don't feel like many of us would think of her right away. But then when you step back and look at her ratio of excellent performances compared to sort of forgettable stuff, she's probably on the higher ratio. You know, she's got an advantage in some ways because she had fewer songs to perform overall. But she just always brought it, you know, and had this energy. Erica says, I think he was starring in Tootsie on Broadway at the time. I want to be like, oh, okay, he had a starring role on Broadway. But it's Tootsie. And I just have very complicated feelings about that overall at this point in 2021. So I'm going to give him a yellow card for that one. Lauren says, I know there were other live performances along the way. I think he might have done one of those at least. Oh, okay. But sucks to not see him come back, or Naomi. Naomi! True, Lauren. That would have been really fun. I didn't really think about her. So, guys, Josh Chan. If we're going to talk about favorite performance from this live, Josh Chan, he did the angry, feeling bad. Why do I feel this way? I was so happy. Y'all, he killed that shit. I'm going to put that one in my top 5. His song, what is it? All right, so his is Angry Mad, right? I think that's the title of that. It's something like that. Dr. Akopian's song, I'll put that also up in there. Erica says, David Hull, holy shit, and the moment is me. He stole the entire 40-minute special. He really did. He really did. Can we just, why isn't he in more stuff? I have to assume it's because he's short. I feel like Hollywood just doesn't like short guys. And it's weird because there are plenty of like white guys who are fairly short that they just sort of angle cameras and get short actresses and they deal with it. But I feel the fact that he isn't white and short, that they're just like, and just write him off. And that's a mistake. And I want to see him in everything. He's just got something. And it's not just his quads, because, I mean, he got them too. But, oh, David Hull is white, Josh. Okay, David Hull. What's Josh's real name? I should have the IMDb up. I'm so in the not doing that because of spoilers, but I don't need to worry about that anymore. So why don't I just bring this up? Vincent Rodriguez. Oh, thank you. Right. Oh my God. So David Hull, the only performance that he did anything, like, I don't mean anything, because he was in the background on a lot of stuff, but the only one that he actually really had a moment was during Heather's song, where he plays the scene in the show. She is being sort of followed uncomfortably by two people who are doing a routine around her that she doesn't want to have anything to do with. And the energy of having him be the one in that moment. And there's not two of them. I was sort of expecting Maya. I thought Maya would turn up as the other sort of insufferable, extreme musical theater traditionalist there. Because I feel like they have the same sort of excitable energy to them, and he is a lot more sardonic than her, but that would have worked. But yeah, his attitude throughout, I wanted him to have more to do. He just doesn't have a lot to do in the show either in terms of like singing performances. I know that he had another one other than the gambling song, but I can't remember what that one was. He is just a treasure in general too. I think he has such charisma. He just one of those people that the camera, when he's on, he isn't even the focus of a scene and my eyes are drawn to him. And it's not like he is exceptionally attractive. Like, don't get me wrong, but that's not all it is. Cause there are plenty of people who are super attractive that don't have that effect. There's just something internal that shines through there. Fit, hot guys have problems too. Oh my God. That would have been so good to see live. Oh, I'm so sad now that they didn't do that one. That would have been so good. I really would have enjoyed that. Yeah, there's too many good ones. I'm sure it was really hard for them to whittle down all of the options to what would fit in a 42-minute special. I wonder if they chose different stuff in each of the performances that they did. If they did multiple live shows, was it always the same one? Or was it like same lineup, or was it different lineups depending? So this, oh my God, I forgot about the three ladies in front who are all wearing the Halloween, the costumes from that. What was it, guys? The not the wince, cringe, the cringe. There goes another really good one. That's a really good song. I really like that. I don't know if that's going to make my top 5, but that's up there. Top 10, probably. Some of the live shows were years earlier. Those had other numbers I've just seen on YouTube. Oh, years earlier. Okay. Were they while the show was still airing, or was it? I could see that being really good promotional. Like, it would be an investment of money for sure, but I could see that being really good marketing if it was while it was airing. I'm looking here at the IMDb to see what other stuff people. I'm looking at how many episodes everybody's in as well, and it's wild to see how few some of them are in once you actually see the numbers. Father Bra didn't make an appearance, did he? That's fine. I mean, he didn't even have a singing role in anything. Vella Lovell is Heather's real name. I don't know if I remember seeing her in anything else. She was in The Big Sick? God, I don't remember that. Oh, Christmas Chronicles. She played the girl at the restaurant, the like hostess. Okay, yeah. She was fun in that, even though that movie was not awesome. Lovell, says Erica. Okay, Lovell. She looks so good in this IMDb photo, too. It's so wild, because some IMDbs, it's just like a fucking still from the video. Somebody took a screenshot, and that's their IMDb. And I have to wonder, like, who allows that? But her IMDb photo, she looks so beautiful. One of those where I'm like, oh, her hair looks great. And then I'm like, oh, she has the same hair as me. Maybe I should appreciate my hair more. A lot of them are performed by Rachel Bloom, Jack Dolgen, Adam Schlesinger, and Aline Brosh McKenna. Okay. She's now in that show Mr. Mayor with Ted Danson. Oh, I didn't know about that. Oh yeah, here it is on IMDb. I see that. I've never heard about that show. I can't get over, considering that I'm somebody who works in covering television, how many TV shows come and go that I never even hear about. I am really not on my entertainment news. And part of that is purposeful, because entertainment news by nature contains a lot of spoilers. So I try to avoid that stuff on purpose. But I do, there'll be things like this where it'll seem like everybody is aware of this new thing. And I'm like, it's what now? Anyway, I'm sorry, guys. I'm like 35 minutes in and I'm barely into this whole performance, but I've talked about a lot of it in general. So we have the Let's Generalize About Men. I really appreciated the performances of songs from early in the show because I had forgotten a lot of them at this point. And I just think that it's a good refresher because, I mean, some of the greatest material was early on. And that's not to say that they didn't have good stuff later. But I think that early on they had this luxury of all of these different genres still being untouched that they could choose. And it got harder and harder, I'm sure, as time went on, and they had already done something in the style of XYZ, and they had already done one of these songs, that they started to be like, all right, what are we going to do now? Oh my God, guys, I can't believe I forgot about I Give Good Parent. I really liked that one. That's a good one. I Give Good Parent. That would have been fun to see too. So let's see. What Generalized About Men was very rewarding. Then we have The Cut and her coming on in the really excellent I'm a Good Person, which I had forgotten how incredibly aggressive this song is. I think while watching that in the episode itself, like in context, I was so distracted by the business of that song, what they were physically doing throughout, that the lyrics failed to land because I was just watching them do these like incredibly thoughtless and considerate things to the people around them. And then this time getting to really listen to the lyrics, I was like, oh, that's pretty good actually. Yeah, this whole bit of her walking up and down the aisles, and she goes up to her dad and asks and tells him, you have to tell me I'm a good person. Let me hear you say it, Mom and Dad. Say I'm a good person, or I will put you in a terrible nursing home. And she holds out the mic and he says, I'm a good person. She is frustrated because she feels, it seems like she thinks he doesn't get it. I took this to be in the spirit of a dad joke. Am I wrong? Does she think that's what's happening? Or is she just like sort of playing along? I couldn't tell, but that got me. I loved this interlude and how like affectionate it was and how proud her parents clearly both are of her, you know, this moment. Say I'm a good person or I'll put you in a nursing home. And she holds it out again. And her mother says you're a good person. And her dad says I'm a good person again. This was very good. I really enjoyed this. And everybody else seemed very tickled by it. Okay, so then we get fucking Paula. Y'all, she comes out in this gown. I can't with her. I can't. I love her so much, and she deserves everything in the entire world forever. Truly. Like, why is she not just incredibly famous? So she comes out in this gown. She does her spin and proceeds to do this operatic performance, hitting some notes and just absolutely fucking wrecking the place. We all have known that she is just so good. Over and over again in the show, she has proven how fucking amazing. The casting of choosing her was perfect. Whoever picked her, they knew. They were completely in the right on this. And it's also just such a great song. And I had forgotten about how it goes and her talking about going out for a jog and then having to shit and then pissing herself a tiny bit on the way home and also having period cramps. And I swear to God, y'all, I said this at the time, but that is the most relatable thing. I am constantly frustrated that in addition to the difficulty of working out simply being a major demand on your energy and your time, that there are so many little side things that can go wrong. And that is like, it takes up a ton of my mental energy to figure out just when to work out and how to do it in such a way that I don't wind up in a situation like that. I have actually shat myself, full on shit myself, because I was jogging, training for a triathlon, and I was somewhere that was like completely residential and there was nothing to be done. And it was the worst experience of my life. It was so bad, you guys. Oh my God. And I wasn't even staying at home. I couldn't go home and just like slink in shame into my bathroom and then do my own laundry. I was staying with my husband's parents at the time. So let me tell you the fucking gymnastics I had to perform in order to cover that up. Oh my God, it was a fucking nightmare. So yeah, this gets to me. This is like to my heart. The message is just too real. And her performance of it is absurd. It's absurd. Ooh. Erica says, I think she just got cast on Sweeney Todd on Broadway. Oh, good for her. For the 4th time in her life as different characters each time. No shit. I want to go to her IMDb now and see who she got cast in. Oh, she was in Birdman, in the Blacklist TV series. There goes one that I've never watched, and I've always been like, it's been on for a long time, I feel like, and it has never caught my interest in any way. Everything here looks like it's filmography. I don't see anything about Broadway stuff, so I don't know if they even do that on IMDb. But yeah, this just killed. I love her. I loved the background that they had of the castle and the gates and everything. And the gates have her initial on the front of them. Just, it's very, very fun. So then we go to I'm Getting By. I'm so glad that they did this one. You can tell from the people in the audience, the number of them wearing this exact costume, that this song meant a lot to a lot of people. And, you know, those of you who have awareness of this kind of thing, bi representation in media is finally starting to get a little bit of attention. But there has been a long period where being bi was simply treated as if it wasn't real. And I am as guilty of that as anybody, full disclosure. And there was a whole bit on Sex and the City, which is, I really want them to reboot Sex and the City, in a very genuine way. I don't mean it as a joke. I mean, Sex and the City remains one of the least sex positive, most prudish TV shows in a lot of ways that I've ever seen, which is really something considering it was supposed to be so explicit and pushing the envelope. It wasn't. And I would love to see a Sex and the City that is much more sex positive, open-minded, and interested in more education, sort of like sex education, but in a different vein regarding actual dating in the world as an adult. Because I go back and think about some of the episodes that I watched that I loved at the time and how incredibly problematic and full of the wrong messaging they were. And there was one conversation where Carrie says, I don't think there's any such thing as bi. I think bi is a stopover on the way to Gay Town. And I straight up just internalized that watching that and was like, oh yeah, okay. And just completely bought it from who? What does she know? You know? And I know that a lot of the writers on that show were gay men, which makes it all the more kind of heartbreaking that attitude was so pervasive there. So the fact that this song made it to this performance makes a lot of sense. And like I said, you can just see so many people in the audience who are wearing his same white blazer and slacks with the sleeves pushed up like he's from Miami Vice. And then we have the Sexy Gettin' Medley song. And her whole performance in this is one of those things that I always wonder what it's like to do a performance like this when your parents are in the audience. 'Cause she straight up has her ass out a couple times. And I was just like, what? You just have to get over it, you know? And I mean, for me, I know that my mother listens to this podcast sometimes, and that's fine, you know? But I have a different relationship with her than a lot of people have with their parents. So I would be fine. I just, whenever I see it with somebody else, I'm always like, oh, okay. Gretchen says, if you want something sort of like Sex and the City in that it's about a group of fashionable women in New York City who are friends, but the characters aren't monsters, the Bold type might be for you. It's a bit cheesy and overwrought at times, but it's fun. Unfortunately, COVID kind of fucked up its final season. Ah, that sucks. COVID really has just done a number on everything. All right, but the Bold type. I will check it out. Where is that, Gretchen? Is that HBO? Or I just completely failed to think of another. Amazon Prime, Hulu. So this medley, she sings the Getting Ready song. She's even more intense with this, trying to show how she's doing her shaving. And I love that she eventually goes up to her nipples and does the shaving around her nipples. I don't have to deal with that because considering I have a ton of hair on my head, you'd think I would be an overall sort of hirsute woman. But no, the hair is only on my head. I was robbed of eyebrows. The eyebrows that I have now that you can see that look so lovely, those are microbladed. Those are not mine. I was robbed of eyelashes. I have practically none. And following that, have very little body hair and got away pretty well on that front, considering that I have very dark hair and a thick head of curly hair. But I really sympathize, especially considering our patriarchal beauty standards, how many women have to battle that all the time. It must be a fucking nightmare. It's the one thing. I have a friend who has these amazing eyelashes and I'm constantly jealous of them. But then she'll talk about her deal with shaving because she's extremely pale and her hair is very dark. And then I'm sort of maybe it's worth the trade-off to not have eyelashes, actually. Kind of go back and forth on that. Gretchen, it's not high. Oh, she says it's on Freeform, but you can get it on Hulu now, I think. Again, it's not high art, so don't judge me too harshly if you hate it, but it's fluffy fun and the outfits are fab. Sometimes it's all you want, I just want a little fun thing. So maybe I'll throw that on because sometimes I have trouble deciding what to watch when Owen isn't home because I can't watch certain shows without him. Erica says, COVID ruined so much. When Adam Schlesinger appeared in the special, I just burst into tears and have been kind of down since I watched it last week. I can understand that. I really wonder what it must be like for Rachel Bloom. That just must be devastating. I'm so glad that they got to finish the project together, at least, before he died. They have this really beautiful thing that they created together that's finished and complete and will live. And that's more than a lot of us get with people who are important to us. So I hope that brings comfort, but nothing is the same as having that person with you. So devastating. Okay, so getting back to this performance, fucking Josh pops up, and then there's the whole, we definitely shouldn't have sex right now. And fucking Tim comes out with his sexy... I'm watching him do it right now, you guys, with his sexy electric toothbrushes. I can't. He was just so excited. He was having such a good time. I love him. What fun. And, oh my God, right. Then we have Nathaniel with his, I forgot about this John Mayer-esque song. This song was truly, I feel like I didn't fully appreciate it at the time. But listening to it here, how thoroughly the music feels like John Mayer and the lyrics are such resigned, backhanded compliments. That's a really good one. I just don't think I gave it the credit it deserved at the time because I was so disgusted with Nathaniel as a person, which he fully deserved. But yeah, I just really appreciated it a lot more this time around. So then we have Valencia getting to do the I'm So Good at Yoga song. This is one where I have such mixed feelings on it because she's changed so much since then that I hate that this is the thing that we get a memory of, but she didn't get that many. Did she get any others? Well, she had the song about trying to start a movement, But that one really didn't make much of an impression on me at all. I'm trying to think what other things were hers alone, and I feel like I can't remember any. And yeah, I don't know. This one it's like one of those songs that I find funny sort of against my will, I think, sometimes, because it is sort of mean-spirited and rooted in this like frustration that I really understand. Girls Stick Together. Lauren. That's right. That would have been a pretty, I don't know. I guess we did the like, let's generalize about men, but so the Girls Stick Together might have been kind of tough, but I feel like that would have maybe been a better choice here. This is more cinematic though for performing on stage. Well, is it? I don't know. But yeah, I did appreciate her getting her chance to do a number though, because I wasn't sure if she would get one. And that's followed by Heather and her whole thing with fucking White Josh. Oh my God. He is such a goon. I'm watching this. Hold on, you guys. Hold on. I'm going to screen share really quick. And just rewind this a little bit so that you guys can see. Because I know that you all have seen this already, but the white man's overbite that he is doing, I just can't. Look at how excited he is. He is having such a good time. There's real, like, 11-year-old little brother energy to this performance that I feel like that's not an act. He truly enjoyed fucking with her just purely for the sake of it. Look at him. With his shoulders all hunched up. What a dink. Oh, man. Okay. I just had to show you guys that because I know that you know, but yeah, that's a lot. All right. So then Rachel Bloom performs The Darkness, which is a really like great song. And I totally understand the impact, but for me, it's just like, ugh. I understand why it's here, and I don't think it was a bad choice, but it's just such a bummer in so many ways that, and I mean, that's the point, right? But it like kind of sank me a little bit in the midst of all of this. So then we get Josh Chan. I've got my head in the clouds. His dancing, I just can't get over him. I hope so much that he just like finds wild success beyond this. He is just outstanding. The ease of his movement and everything when he's performing this kind of number, and then contrasted with the athleticism of the next one. It's just awesome. He's just really, I can't get over it. I truly can't. He blows me away. It's really, especially considering the fact that I hated his character so much to begin with and did not understand Rachel Bloom, or not Rachel, I keep doing that, Rebecca's like obsession with him, because I was just like, he's such a doof, girl. What are you doing? That feeling like he's sort of the standout actor in the whole thing for me, it takes me off guard. I wasn't expecting that. All right, so then we get Greg doing the I Hate Everything But You, which I think was probably a good choice considering that it was the song that he got that wasn't also sung by old Greg, because that would have felt weird. And then we have George come out and getting excited because he's getting finally the recognition, and they do the exact same thing where he gets cut off. This was well done. I liked him asking for the coolest lights you have and them just like really pulling out the stops for that. So let's see, what's the next song? She's out there in her pink top. This is this is Diagnosis. I think that I didn't realize what it was because she wasn't wearing her like bright yellow dress for this one. And Dr. Akopian comes out and sings the antidepressants are so not a big deal, and they do the whole tap number, which is really great. And that is the end of the show, right? Yeah. I really also have to mention I enjoyed AJ being in the background of like backup dancer in all of these. AJ never got the opportunity of a song of their own. I don't know if that was because there was no room. They didn't see the point. If AJ might just not be a singer type. Because clearly they can dance. But I really was glad that they were included because they were kind of the, a linchpin of the final season in a lot of places. And I feel like there was something else about this that I wanted to mention. Oh my God, my sperm is healthy, and them bouncing up against Rebecca and her saying this, I'm pretty sure this is a money shot and this isn't allowed. That was rather good, actually. I like that. But yeah, so, okay. God, I just barely covered all of this within the 56 minutes. I have like 4 minutes left. Erica says, does anyone watch Dimension 20 and think that Weijo and Brennan Lee Mulligan could be related? Don't know it. I'm sorry. Lauren says, AJ was part of, quote, Group Mind has decided you're in love, unquote, right? Oh, I forgot about that song. I think that would have been a fun performance. And Maya. Shame that Don't Be a Lawyer didn't make the cut. Yeah, he does slide out in order to say don't be a lawyer. And I thought that might be the transition into Don't Be a Lawyer, because that is a pretty like showstopper performance. But I think that was just them wanting to acknowledge it, and they weren't able to fit it in. But yeah, I agree. That would have been really fun to see. Yeah, God, guys, I can't believe this. I have like 2 minutes left, and then this whole series will be over. If you guys are interested in sharing stuff about the show, because I love finding out about how things went down after the fact. Reminder that the Discord, which is still sort of under construction in places, we're getting some things settled, but we have chats for all of these Spoil Me titles that I'm currently covering. And even though this show will have concluded, I'm going to leave the spoiler chat for it open for quite a while, probably. If you want to share any articles or videos or playlists in there, feel free to do that. And I'm just also very interested in news about what the actors are up to now, because everybody involved with this was just so talented, and a lot of them are folks I had never seen before. So I'm hoping that I will either get to see more of them because this has given them some notoriety, or I will find out that they are very successful, like in theater, which is not a world that I'm particularly involved with and don't keep track of. So I wouldn't know, but being notified of that would be sort of nice, good news, Let's see. Erica says, I shared a bunch of YouTube playlists in the Crazy Ex-Girlfriend spoiler chat. Thank you, Erica. Megan says, I'm so sad this is ending, but so glad I got to rewatch it with you. And thank you again, Megan, so much for commissioning so many episodes for this. I really appreciate you a lot. Lauren asks, favorite song of the show? I really don't know, because there are songs that I know I have forgotten. I wish that I had taken the time to go through all of the songs before I recorded. I probably should have, in order to narrow it down a little bit. But I really, you guys are going to kill me, but Angry Bad, whatever Josh is, that song was one of the hardest I've ever laughed at, ever. You guys saw it too when I recorded that episode. I fell out for a second while I was recording by myself, and could not stop laughing. It's just, it nails that genre in such a way and is so well done. The whole, the filming of it and him doing the karate and silhouette, like all of it was just so chef's kiss, you know, that it's really hard. I also really, really love a song that it hasn't gotten a lot of attention, but when she's talking about how she wants to be Valencia and like wear her skin in season 1, I thought that was a very relatable song. I think everybody has that moment where they meet somebody that they admire so much that they like kind of become a clone for a tiny bit, and they may not intend to do that, but you just, especially when you're younger, you're trying to figure out who you are, and you'll see somebody who's just so cool and you're like, well, there it is. That's who I want to be. So let me just try to be it. I just related to that one a lot. It's one of those things that makes me laugh so much whenever the "you're not like other girls" comes up. I'm like, I'm like every girl because I have done nothing but copy other women my whole life. So news for you. Let's see. Lauren says, I think after re-listening to everything, my 2 favorites are Ping Pong Girl and First Penis I Saw. First Penis I Saw is pretty funny. That one is the one I forget about, but I really enjoy on listening again. Weird to have it stuck in your head and sing out loud. Ping Pong Girl is also, that is a pretty good one. Oh, Real Life Fighting is Awkward. That one also got to me. I like the fucking like really physical comedy songs, I guess, actually. I'm sure that I'll think of other ones. Let's see. Gretchen says, I love Heavy Boobs. Heavy Boobs is good. Diagnosis. Let's Generalize About Men. Don't Be a Lawyer. Love's Not a Game. I Go to the Zoo. I forgot about I Go to the Zoo. Oh, I kind of wish that was one Nathaniel's song for this as well. But I get why it was tied in with like all the sexy songs, because it makes a lot of sense for the scene to go together. But that really was very good. God, yeah. I have to think on it. So if you guys want to know, I will go through some of the playlists and I will talk about it in the spoiler chat and narrow down on some of my favorites there. And I love Dr. Akopian's song too. I just heard she's so good. I wish I could remember the name of it, guys. It's not Maybe This Time, because that's the name of the song that it's sort of like riffing on. But it's like that. And Lauren says Dream Ghost. No, not that one. It's the one that she sings where she's like hoping that this time the fucking therapy will actually sink in with Rebecca, because she has tried so hard and she's so fucking tired. This session is gonna be different. Thank you, Gretchen. That one it's just so good. And honestly, it's one that hits hard for me because it's like our whole lives, that's us constantly trying to be better and failing and trying again. So her frustration there feels like a frustration that I have with myself a lot. And this just tiredness that will come with that. And there's no choice but to continue to try again. Like, otherwise you can just give up and then the rest of your life is guaranteed to suck. Or you can face potentially failing again, but doing well for a while and that meaning something. But it's really hard to like keep the energy up and keep the faith up and continue to care. And that like hit for me on that level, you know? Yeah. I feel like, yeah, I'm going to put that like tentatively in my top 5, but I'll have to get back to you on that. So, all right, guys, I have to wrap. Thank you all again so much. I appreciate everybody hanging out all the time and conversing with me and giving me like background info and everything. I just really, this was a lot of fun. And I know that I have said that once Rebecca stops acting as totally off the wall as she does in the first few seasons, things kind of like hit the brakes a bit with the show. And like, I still stand by that definitely to a degree, especially I'm sure on the rewatch, season 4 will be a little bit tedious in places, but I feel like they really managed to carry it off in the end and get their momentum back for the last 5 or 6 episodes of the season and the series. So I'm really glad that it was able to end on a high note after everything, you know? So yeah, I appreciate you all. I love you all. And hopefully I will see you all in the Discord. Until then, toodaloo, motherfuckers.
That was an Unspoiled Network podcast.